After Terri passed, and I'll tell you more about Terri as we go, I built a story about myself so quietly, I didn't even notice I was building it. I wasn't sitting down one day saying, let me decide who I am now. It just accumulated like dust. The story was, I'm a grieving man. That's what I am now. Half of what I was. I'd wake up, and that was the first thing that arrived. Not morning light, not coffee, not a plan for the day. The story, the one that said, you are a man who lost the person who completed him. Everything else is secondary to that. And the worst part, I never questioned it because it felt like honoring her. It felt like being faithful. It felt like the true, honest account of who Ron Myers was now. It took me a long time to understand that the story wasn't just a description of my grief. The story was the grief I couldn't move through. Have you ever noticed the voice that shows up at 2 a.m.? The one that doesn't use complete sentences and it just drops weight on your chest. The one that says you'll never be okay without them. That you don't even know who you are anymore without that relationship to orient you. Have you ever caught yourself doing something completely ordinary? Making breakfast, driving to the store, watching something on TV, and then felt something like guilt for being ordinary? For still being here doing ordinary things while the world went on? Have you ever wondered, in the quietest, most honest part of yourself, whether you're stuck not because of what happened, but because some part of you believes staying stuck is the right thing to do? If that's where you are, what I'm about to share might be the most important thing you've heard since the loss. Because there are two layers to what you're experiencing, and most people are only treating one of them. Here's the point, and I want you to lean in because this is the thing nobody tells you. Grief has two layers. Layer one, the loss itself, real, permanent, non-negotiable. You are not going to think your way out of it or positive attitude your way past it. You love someone. They are gone. That is a fact, and that layer of grief deserves to be honored fully. But there is a second layer. Layer two is the story your mind built on top of the loss. The interpretation, the meaning your mind constructed in the weeks and months after to make sense of what happened, to figure out who you are now, to answer the question, what does this mean about my life going forward? And here's what I need you to understand. That second layer is not a fact. It feels like a fact. It has the texture of truth. You've been living inside it long enough that it feels like solid ground beneath your feet. But it's a story. And because it's a story, it can be rewritten. Most men who come to me are trying to heal the first layer. They're trying to work through the permanence of the loss, the void, the absence. And that work matters. But the reason they stay stuck, the reason a year becomes 2 years, becomes 6 years of not moving forward, is because nobody told them about the second layer. Nobody told them that the story they built about what this loss means about who they are is what's actually running the show. Your story creates meaning. Your meaning creates emotion. Your emotion drives your behavior. Your behavior creates your life. The first layer, the loss, created the wound. The second layer, the story you're telling about the wound, is keeping it open. And the second layer is the one you can change. I want to name the enemy here because it's invisible. And invisible enemies are the most dangerous kind. The enemy isn't your grief. The enemy isn't the passage of time. The enemy isn't even the loss. The enemy is that nobody told you there were two layers. You walked into one of the most disorienting experiences a human being can face, losing the person you built your life around, and you did what any intelligent, feeling person does. You made sense of it the best you could. You built a story, and then that story became your operating system. And you've been running on it ever since. The cruelest thing about that is you didn't do anything wrong. You weren't failing at grief. You were doing what grief asks you to do. You were making meaning. You were trying to understand what happened and who you are now. But the story you built in the darkest, most disoriented weeks of your life, is that really the story you want running your life years later? That story was written in the fog. It was written with incomplete information. It was written by a version of you who was underwater, barely breathing, doing the best he could. You are not that same man today. And today, you get to start questioning the story. 3 things to carry out of this video. Your next chapter doesn't erase your last one. It honors it. The first layer of grief is the loss. The second layer is the story. Only one of those can be rewritten. You don't suffer from the event. You suffer from the meaning you attach to it. Write those down. Put them somewhere. Not because they sound good, because one of them might be the line that shifts something for you at 2 a.m. when the voice shows up. In day 3, I'm going to talk about the biggest lie about grief that the culture handed you. One that sounds like loyalty, but is actually a trap. We're going to name it directly, because until you can see it clearly, it will keep running in the background of everything. But if you don't want to wait, if today's video landed and you're ready to go deeper right now, Rewrite the Story is the full framework. It walks you through both layers. It gives you the tools to begin working on the second one, and it meets you exactly where you are. You can get the link in the description. Take your time. Make it yours. And most important, remember, you are extraordinary.